What's up everybody, another beautiful day in the Dragonhouse, and today we're taking a look at heroic Molgoth. Molgoth? From the new raid Aberrus, the Shadowed Crucible. And I'll be going over all the new mechanics, how they work, and how to deal with them. Now keep in mind this is PTR, so things can change or be reworked. And if it's been majorly reworked, I'll just revisit this video. So Molgoth, two-phase fight. Phase 1 you fight against the Essence of Shadow and Flame, or Crossgoth and Multania, depending on what they end up calling him. When either of these two reaches 50%, they hug and evolve into Molgoth. Now both of these elementals in phase 1 pulse out a dot to anyone within 50 yards of them, and if they're within 25 yards of each other, they start AoEing like crazy, so you're gonna want to avoid that. Now the Shadow Elemental applies Corrupting Shadow, which deals ticking damage, and every stack reduces your max HP by 1%. Flame Elemental applies Blazing Heat, which is just a stacking dot. So Shadow 1 reduces HP and deals a bit of ticking damage. Flame is just an ever-stacking dot, and they last for 20 seconds. Now the Shadow Elemental also casts Umbral Detonation, targeting several players. After a few seconds, they detonate in an 8-yard circle and drop a puddle on the ground. Make sure to drop these far away from bosses, preferably around the walls and edges of the room. Then we have Shadow Convergence, which spawns tons of big old balls that converge on boss, so don't take balls to the face. Coalescing Void, boss spawns a sphere, deals a ton of damage to anyone within 40 yards of it, deals less the further away from the sphere you are. Now I'm unsure if this spawns near players or just somewhere near boss. The Flame Elemental casts Fiery Meteor in front of it, dealing lethal damage split between players, and everyone near the Flame Elemental should help soak this. You could also have one player immune soak this every time if you have enough for that, unless they change it. The Molten Eruption spawns several flamey circles that needs to be soaked. If you miss one, the raid takes a ton of damage, so go soak. Then we have Swirling Flame, swipes at a player's location, spawning fire blob waves to travel in that direction. Fire bad. So what we did for phase 1 was split the raid into two. We put more melee on the fire side, as its abilities are more melee friendly. Depending on tuning, you will probably have to drop your fire/shadow dot stacks at some point in the fight, or healers might get a bit salty. No, we can't heal one-shots! Scrubs. So what we did was tank swap target whenever Flame Elemental casts Fiery Meteor, as it doesn't move during it. So as soon as the meteor starts casting, Fire Tank runs over or gates over to the Shadow Add taunt, and then the Shadow Tank runs over and taunts the Flame Elemental. This way the bosses rarely moved, or if they did, extremely little, so it was of no risk of spreading dots or making them AoE. And for the rest of the raid, we just had players above 10 stacks swap sides, as the boss would transition to phase 2 shortly after that. However, if this is tuned a lot tighter than it was during PTR, and you'll have to swap several times before phase 2, and it really doesn't change a whole lot. Just swap as stacks are getting higher and make sure both elementals are equal in health or close to, at least so one doesn't hit 50% while the other is at 75%, because that will make phase 2 a lot harder. Big brain. Now for phase 2 and Molgoth, which unsurprisingly uses a combo of the previous two elementals' abilities. In this phase you'll get stacks of Shadow Flame, which is a combo of the previous two, reduces your max HP and deals a ton of damage and lasts forever. So the longer this phase takes, the harder it gets, and eventually you'll be there on 1% HP going, one heal! Now Molgoth will also spawn several circles around the room for Convergent Eruption. These needs to be soaked or the entire raid takes damage, and upon soaking these, each circle spews out balls that then converge back to their spawn location, like the Shadow Orbs in phase 1. Now boss will also target 4 players with Blistering Twilight, and a few seconds later they explode, dropping a Shadow Flame puddle on the ground and spawn 4 tornadoes, like the Centaur boss in Knockhood Offensive. So these players needs to run far out and drop these, and the rest of the raid needs to Dance Revolution dodge all the tornadoes. Now they seem to spawn from your cardinal direction, so fronts, butts and sides, so you should be able to somewhat aim these to minimize the chance of them going right into the raid, if possible, or if you care. Then we have Gloom Conflagration, which is the Fiery Meteor from phase 1, but with some shadow added to it. Need to be split with as many players as possible to lower raid damage. You could immune soak these while testing, so if that's still possible go-go immune soak. Now this meteor also spawns a ball of energy like the one from phase 1 Shadow Elemental, which deals damage to everyone in the raid within 40 yards, reduced by distance. Now since this always spawns in front of boss and you always need to run away from it, if you need to reposition raid or move boss due to all the puddles, you can aim the meteor towards the old puddles so that you naturally have to run away from them with boss. Min-max! Now the tank will have to rotate in this phase. One takes crushing vulnerability and the other takes shadow flame burst, so you can swap on every crushing before a new shadow flame burst. But this phase is pretty much keep putting puddles away from the raid, dodge swirls, split meteor damage, and run away from the detonation. Move boss if you're running out of space from puddles, and yeah, again, make sure to drop puddles far away. It makes it a lot easier to dodge all the tornadoes and gives you more time to appreciate just how darn purdy these tornadoes look. And that's pretty much it for the Molgoth on Heroic. Let me know what you think about this fight. And if you have any questions at all about this encounter, hit me up in the comments or become a patron or Twitch sub and get access to the Stankie Discord. I'm also streaming all of my raid progression on Twitch, so make sure to check that out, Stankie Gaming. And don't forget the usual stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Notice me! And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Stankie Gaming.